systems on the rise, or are they? I guess that might be titled. The advantage of why you would want to use the cloud for your security solutions. A little bit about staying compliant, compliance issues, and data protection issues around cloud-based security. And then a little bit about what Knight is able to offer in this cloud realm for security solutions. So a little bit about me. Alyssa, we're going to make this slide presentation available to anybody that joins, right? So they'll have this slide deck?
Yep, we'll send it out after the fact.
Okay, very good. And so just a little bit about me. I've been in the security solution for quite some time, seen a tremendous evolution of technology from the stone knives and bear skins we were using back in the 1980s through the kind of client server revolution that's been around with us for about the last 25 years. And now currently, I mean, we're really excited about this evolution into the cloud with security. So you'll have this slide deck if you want more information on me later. So, okay, so this, let's just jump right into it. So this slide actually should say cloud security systems on the rise, question mark. They should be, but are they? And it's kind of funny. I guess this technology is different, and there's a lot of deep-rooted tradition in the security business. And I'm talking about security companies like a Knight Security or ADT, Tyco, that kind of thing. And it seems like regardless of how safe and secure cloud applications are, there's a great reluctance from IT executives and from security companies to move to the cloud. And I think that's really rooted into if it works, don't fix it kind of mentality. But we would challenge that to say it's really not working. These aging security solutions that are based on really 1990s and maybe the 2000s era client server technology are getting old. They're not typically upgraded in a consistent fashion. They're aging, they're failing, and it's really problematic for a lot of businesses that we see in our day-to-day interaction with customers. This is a large complaint about how to use this thing, how current it is. What do I do to get this thing more modern and more easier to use? That's a typical question, right? So we think, we believe, and we're very excited about this move to the cloud for the security industry. So, hang on, let me get this to change. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, and cloud security systems on the rise. I guess this slide should be, well, if they aren't on the rise, they sure should be. Okay, and the cloud basically is here to stay. I mean, everything we do today on our phones or tablets or web browsers is all based on cloud technology. Anything you buy in the cloud from an Amazon or any kind of banking application you do, email, obviously Facebook, all of this, everything's in the cloud. So why not security? What's holding us back here? So let's just first go over the advantages of cloud-based security. Why would you want to move your on-premises, client server security solution into the cloud? Well, first of all, we contend that these cloud solutions are more secure, certainly more scalable, more redundant or resilient, and they cost less than a traditional on-premises solution. So lots of good reasons there, right? They're flexible and they're infinitely scalable. So I mean, you can put in a one-door access control system with a few cameras and plug it into the cloud and get the same features and benefits of a large multinational corporation that has thousands of doors and thousands of cameras in the cloud. So data backups and automatic upgrades and redundancy through multiple data centers. All of these kind of really what were traditionally big corporate kind of tools that cost a lot of money is available to all of our clients through the cloud, through this scalable cloud. you pay for whatever you use. If you have one door, you pay a certain amount. If you have 1,000 doors, you're going to pay more, obviously. But it's just a matter of turning things on and off, and you can scale these things up and down. So you can take your one door system up to 10 next month or next year. If you expand to 100 doors over time, and then all of a sudden you need to pull back a little bit and make it a 50 door solution because you sold a warehouse or whatever it is, you can go up and down in scalability. So they're very flexible solutions. It's also all based on open architecture. So what we mean by that is non-proprietary hardware and software that allows things to connect together seamlessly. So we're talking about, let's just talk about the field hardware, for example. A Mercury solution is a non-proprietary, open, connectable field hardware that works with a whole lot of security software. So if you have this open non-proprietary architecture, you can do a lot with it. It's more flexible. It allows you to connect to third-party devices and solutions. I always say that it's our day job at Night Security to keep up with all the great changing security solutions that are out there. We go to these tech shows, and it's the next greatest innovation in outdoor detection of people, or the next greatest camera that has a 360-degree field of view, or whatever it is. We have trouble keeping up with what's coming next. But the point is, if you have a flexible, scalable solution that's built on open architecture, whatever comes your way in the future, you'll be able to use. So that's great, right? You don't have to worry. If you get the right infrastructure and you start with the right foundation, then you're able to take on any challenge or new technology that comes at you in the future. Okay, so let's just switch gears here a little bit. So one thing we want to talk about this cloud security compliance, and the reason we do is it's probably the primary objection we get from end users, and typically IT folks and physical security folks in the field when we start talking about cloud solutions. Okay, so one of the so if you're talking about securing data. That's really, I guess, the concern. Is my corporate data going to be safe? My employee data? Maybe I have social security numbers, or I have client credit card data, or whatever it is you're putting in the cloud. You have to know it's safe and secure. And these cloud solutions are heavily dependent upon these big service providers like Google, Microsoft, Azure. We use Amazon Web Services, which has the large, I think they have almost 50% market share in this cloud business. So if you're an Amazon Web Services, what do you do to assure people that you know what you're doing and you're keeping their data safe? Well, if you're Amazon, you have, I think they have like a $500 billion market capitalization. So these guys are huge, right? Their economy of Amazon is bigger than a lot of third world countries. So they have an army of cybersecurity experts, physical security at these data centers that's just second to none. They have the economies of scale that almost no one else can touch, and they have a whole reason behind them to keep their customers' data secure, because if they had a big breach, or they lost, millions of credit cards like Target did a few years ago, if they lost credit card data out there to the cyber world, the nefarious cyber world, that would be a huge black eye to Amazon and would heavily damage their reputation, might cause them loss of certifications, and certainly loss of customers. They're in business to keep customers and to grow that business. They're not in business to lose it. So it's incumbent upon them to protect your data, really better than anybody else could do it at their own site. And they do it through things like this ISO 27001 standard. That's a data security standard that's very difficult to obtain. And there's also this thing called, hang on, I'm trying to change the slides here. There we go. There's also this thing called the Cloud Security Alliance that has this thing called STAR, which is a STAR registry. and this is a multi-level, first of all, a self-assessment. It's a certification. You can go online with Amazon Web Services and look at their STAR certification, and under NDA, they'll tell you all about what they did and how this ISO 27001 certification allows them to claim this STAR assurance registry. So just suffice it to say, these guys are really, really, really serious about protecting your data. These data centers, I don't know if you've seen any of these things. They're going up like there's no tomorrow. They have redundant power generation. I mean, they can power the facility for months without making their own power. They have amazing storage servers, redundant internet paths. I mean, these things are big time. And what better to protect your data and to make sure that your system's going to work right when you need it, because there's no second chances. What better way to do it than to rely on something like Amazon Web Services to host that application? Okay, so let's just jump a little bit here and talk about Knight, what Knight offers in a cloud-based security solution. And these are kind of generic statements, but what are the benefits for a solution that Knight could provide? Well, first of all, it's being able to use any device, anywhere, anytime, really any browser, to get to your data. So if you're working with your security solution, let's say you're the manager of this security solution and you need to add a person, or you need to run a report, or whatever you might need to do to fulfill your business mission that day, you need to be able to get to that data quickly, anytime, anywhere, any place, any browser, in a secure manner. So this these secure, it's called SSL connectivity. It's when you connect to your bank account online, you see the little lock in the web browser, and you know that your data is encrypted and secured, and that if you're passing information about credit cards to PayPal, for example, you want to make sure that stuff, nobody else can see that when it's going out over the internet. That's the type of technology we use here to access your security solution data. Okay, so these cloud solutions can combine several different facets of the security industry. Access control, that's the key card systems that allow people to come in and out of doors, register who's been through that door, say when they can go through it, right? You can come in the front door Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but you can't go in the warehouse, or however you want to configure this access control solution. That's available in the cloud. That integrated and tied together with high definition video to tell more of the story about what's going on in the facility. Also integrated with intrusion detection. I mean, even the burglar alarms these days are all high-tech IP devices that all communicate and work together to build a security solution. We integrate with things like Active Directory. If you know what Active Directory is, that's how these corporate IT folks keep control of who gets to go what and where, right? What computers they can use, what servers they can use, what printers people can use. We can also use Active Directory to say what door people can go in, or what application can you get into the access control application and make a change. That all can be based on Active Directory. The IT folks just absolutely love that and the HR folks absolutely love it, because in big organizations, people arrive and people leave all the time, and it's very hard to keep up with. If somebody leaves and I turn off their email account, have I also turned off their card access? Have I turned off their ability to see the high definition video? All those kind of things. It's highly desirable to use Active Directory to control that. Other things like biometric readers and wireless devices, all this kind of stuff can be built in a cloud-based security solution. So the neat thing about this stuff, it all sounds great, right? But the really cool thing is, because you're literally getting rid of tremendous amounts of expensive and hard to maintain hardware, it actually costs less to do it this way. I mean, that's why the cloud is working. I mean, if you go to any Fortune 1000 corporation in the U.S., a lot of what those guys are doing is already built in the cloud. Their email services. I mean, heck, this voice over IP phone system I'm using today is a cloud-based device, right? Everything's moving to the cloud. Well, why? It's because the care and feeding of these servers, typically Microsoft servers, if you're going to put a security solution server in your data center at your organization, the care and feeding of that server is estimated to be about $8,500 a year, and that's after you own the server. So that's accounting for the space. You know, it's physically taking up space in your data center. It costs money to power the server. It costs money to cool it because it generates heat. There's all sorts of Microsoft updates and licenses and all sorts of things that conspire to make it very difficult and expensive to keep a single server in a data center. So if we can eliminate those servers and just tap into the cloud for a monthly fee to just basically rent that space, it's a lot more scalable and it's a lot more affordable. And it turns this whole question into an operating expense and not a big capital expense. So it's more affordable to use cloud-based solutions. So we talked about earlier, you know, securing and protecting your data in the cloud. I mean, that's just what they do. That's what a Microsoft Azure data center or an Amazon Web Services data center does. When you push data into the cloud, it's typically stored in three places. So if there's a hardware failure in the cloud, you're not going to lose the data. The data centers, these guys all have redundant data centers all over the country and all over the world. So if something happens to their West Coast data center, let's say there's a big weather event or an earthquake or something like that, they will literally pick up and move all those applications to another data center in maybe the East Coast, which is not being affected by weather. And you don't even know that's happened. It just automatically happens, and you have this secure, you know, redundant, incredibly resilient solution available to you, even with your little couple of doors and cameras. So upgrades and new features. So if you've been around the security space for as long as Knight has, you find a lot of pain around upgrading these complicated security solutions, whether it's a video solution or a access control or whatever it is. When you're hosting this on at your own site, when you have your own servers and you have your own software you're taking care of, these, you know, first of all, these manufacturers, they expect and pretty much demand that you have a software upgrade and support plan. And by having that and paying for it annually, it allows you to have tech support and it allows you to have access to the latest and greatest software. So sometimes folks don't either forget to pay those SUPs, they're called, or they don't want to afford to pay those. And what happens? You know, the system starts aging. Sometimes we see systems that are 5 or 6 years old or older that have never been updated. I mean, in the Microsoft world, we all know that's not possible. Right? You're going to get left behind, right? You know, is anybody running Windows 97 anymore or Windows XP? Probably not, because there's no support. It doesn't work with any of the new stuff. You know, you've gotten left behind if you're still trying to run Windows XP. So you need the upgrades. So the point here is, if you're in the cloud, the upgrades just appear. They happen overnight. It's like elves are doing this overnight in the data center, and poop, you wake up the next day and you have new features and benefits. There's no pain. It's just part of that monthly fee that you're paying for the service. Software as a service, it's called. Upgrades just show up. You already see that today with all of the apps and things that you run on your phones. And you see, you know, they're constantly pushing new updates, right? And you get these new features and benefits, and all you have to do is say, okay. But the same thing applies to the security industry in the cloud. The upgrade pain just simply goes away. The backup pain goes away. In security, and like a lot of applications, you need to make sure your data is backed up and secured and ready for the ultimate event of a hardware failure. When the cloud, that's all assured. You have multiple copies of the backup. So it's you know, redundant and resilient. Those are probably the best words to use for this solution. And then lastly, this is all built on this open, non-proprietary technology, and it really, it prepares you for the future. We don't know what's coming in this technology. This technology moves so dang fast. I mean, what iPhone's supposed to come out with a new iPhone in September? Nobody really even knows what's going to be on it. We just know it's going to be cool and people are going to want it. Same thing in the security industry with the next greatest security technology that's going to thwart the bad guys and make your business safer, the people that work there and the business, assure your business mission. So if you're based on open, non-proprietary technology, you can take advantage of those new things that are coming. So getting close to the end here. So just some final thoughts. So we're convinced, Knight Security, and I'm especially convinced that these cloud-based security solutions are the future. They haven't quite taken off like a lot of us thought they would, and I think it's just back in that deeply rooted, old, traditional, if it works, don't mess with it. Well, I think we've explained pretty well why they're not working, the old traditional systems. The new stuff is just more secure and reliable. It's less expensive to operate, and you can deploy a system faster. You have this great ability through these open, what they call RESTful APIs that allow things to connect together, and we're seeing things connected together more rapidly than we ever had before. And and it prepares us for all this new technology developments for the future. So we think it's really time to consider a move to the cloud. So this is the last slide, I think, just a little bit about Knight Security. So for those of you that don't know Knight, we're really a Texas-based company. We're focused on Texas. We do a tremendous amount of work for state and local, the state of Texas and local governments. And we literally cover it from end to end, from El Paso to Harlingen to Texarkana to Amarillo. Knight Security covers the entire state, and we have large customers that keep us on our toes with a 4-hour response to all of these places, some that you may never have even heard of, that we're doing a 24-hour response for. So for security solutions and for this latest and greatest cloud solutions, we'd sure like for you to consider Knight Security for your security needs. So I think, Alyssa, that's basically it. We're just looking for questions here. And if anybody has...
so go ahead.
Yeah, so far I don't see any questions.
So if anyone has a question, please feel free to type it into the Q&A box, or there's also a webinar chat box, but we'll read them out and kind of go over any questions you guys might have in the next few minutes.
So we'll keep it open for a few minutes here. This slide is titled Honor, Integrity, and Service, and that's really about Knight. If you look at Knight Security's logo, everything that's on our shirts and on our trucks and on everything that we do, this honor, integrity, and service, you'll see that that is an integral part of our logo, and it's an integral part of Knight Security. We believe in doing the right thing. We believe in doing what we say we're going to do. We operate with a very high degree of honor and integrity. That's what you would expect from a security company. I would think you would expect that from any company, but especially a company that you're entrusting to secure your business assets and your people and your business mission. You need to be able to trust them. And then lastly, I would really define Knight as a service provider. I mean, we do large system deployments, but what we're really about is long-term relationships, and we do that through service excellence and a program we call Secure Plan and Secure Plan Health Monitoring. In fact, we've done some web seminars on our Secure Plan Health Monitoring. We'll probably schedule another one of those in the near future. Looks like we have maybe a couple of questions.
Yeah, okay, so it looks like we have 2 questions from David Martin. The first one is, what systems do you carry that are cloud-based?
Okay, so we have access control. So I'm not sure if we're looking for the actual brand names or what we can do in the cloud. We have a couple of different offerings for access control in the cloud, and we have offerings for video in the cloud and intrusion. So I'm not sure if the question was around Um, the specific brands, I'm not sure. Brands we utilize are from Brevo and a company called Phoenix, F-E-E-N-I-C-S. We use Mercury-based hardware and HID Vertex hardware. That's all open, non-proprietary hardware. And let's see, there's a couple of more questions here. It says, if I have Mercury panels but a different system, can it be put in the cloud? Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. If I didn't mention that earlier, I sure meant to. So if you have Mercury hardware already, and that would be the business that made Mercury hardware famous was Linnell. So if you have a Linnell solution, that Mercury hardware can be repurposed and pointed to the cloud for a better solution for a lot less dollars. So yes, that Mercury hardware can be reused, repurposed. That's kind of the point of putting in this open, non-proprietary hardware, that you can use it with another solution when something better comes along. There's a question here, does Knight have a pilot program? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but we certainly can do demonstrations of this equipment. So that is entirely possible. Just contact us and we can talk about your specific needs. Let's see, there's a question here about additional cost to integrate Active Directory. Yes, I mean, obviously any kind of integrations are going to come with a little bit of cost to accomplish the integration. The Active Directory is not a standard thing. In other words, organizations build Active Directories to their particular needs and size of the organization. And so that would have to be matched, for example, to your access control needs. So there is some planning and specialized knowledge to plug those two things together. So yes, it does come with a little bit of cost, but once it's working, you get to use it for the foreseeable future. So let's see, what else do we have here? It says, can one cloud solution integrate access control, video surveillance, and alarm services? Yes, absolutely. The Phoenix solution comes to mind, where their Keep solution, it's called by Phoenix, allows us to take access control, video, and intrusion all into the cloud and operate it all off of one user interface that can be accessed by any device, any browser, anywhere, anytime. Typical clients that utilize the cloud. Well, really anybody could utilize the cloud. So a typical client, I would say the ones that get it more quickly, I guess, are those that have to manage a lot of sites with multiple doors of access control, or even a few doors of access control at a lot of sites. That would make a great amount of sense to consider the cloud, but really anybody could use it. I mean, all these businesses have great connectivity to the cloud, and gosh, why not get rid of that those racks of servers and just push everything up to the cloud? So, so what size system can you put in the cloud? Gosh, you can put a one-door, one-camera system in the cloud, or you can put hundreds or even thousands of doors and cameras and point them to the cloud. So it's completely scalable. So are you hitting the answer button on those, Alyssa? Is that why they're going away?
Yeah, hitting the answer button.
Yeah, because the questions were going away. Okay, any other questions? There are a lot of great questions there. So I just want to make sure I've gotten all of them answered properly.
Looks like one more. Does Knight provide managed services, i.e. badge printing?
Yes, absolutely. So that's a great segue there. Appreciate the question. So Knight operates what we call our CSC, our Client Support Center, for health monitoring and for managed services. So one of the benefits for having these solutions in the cloud is that your service provider has a secure connection into and is able to support you better because of it. There's no port forwarding or natting if you're into the IT space. Those are kind of bad words that when you're trying to get your service provider that's off-site into your on-site systems, you start having to poke holes in the firewall, and that's a bad thing. With these cloud solutions, you don't have to do that. These cloud solutions just need outbound ports, no holes put in the firewall, and because they're up in the cloud, and if you want to allow it, your service provider can get in and see that information and help you with your configuration, your reporting, printing badges. Yeah, that's something we can do, something we do for our clients. Really anything that you can do as much or as little with your system as you want. You can do it all in the cloud, not need night except for maybe the occasional service call to go fix a door. Or you can have us do it all. We could act like your security service provider and just take the load off your IT folks and your HR folks. So I hope that answered the question. So very good. So we're running on about 30 minutes. That's what we said we wanted to try to keep it to. Sure appreciate all the people attending. Sure appreciate all the great questions. And we look forward to hearing from you about your particular needs. So I hope everybody enjoyed the webinar.